Welcome to Hot Boxing Talking. This week we spoke to Rob Katz about the legendary Muhammad Ali and where does he fit in to being great. Is he the greatest? And of course we had our weekly chat with Cyril and Hayden. This is the Hot Boxing Talk. There is lots to talk about on this week's episode of Hot Boxing Talk with the two gentlemen, Hayden and Cyril. First and foremost, Anthony Joshua successfully defended his IBF Heavyweight Championship of the world, knocking out his opponent in the 7th round. Tell me, getting better and better is Joshua. What do you make of his performance?
A splendid performance. You know, this is the best I've seen him. His movement was much better. He looks a lot quicker. It looks like he's really growing into potentially a great fighter.
Do you think that he can compete now with the likes of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder?
I think now he's ready. I think I saw Deontay Wilder was calling him out. I would love to see that fight. It would be nice to actually see that fight.
Tyson Fury, the theory and the story about him testing positive for anabolic steroids, it was last year sometime, I believe. Why is it only coming out now?
I don't know why, but you can kind of see like the shape that he was in the press conference to the shape he'd probably be into the fight. He was a big fat guy in the press conference and he'd probably be, so you can kind of,
Do you think this is going to hinder his popularity? Because let's be honest, he's a bit of a clown sometimes. He's very vocal and he upsets a lot of fight fans, and myself included. Do you think this is going to gain him popularity, or do you think this is going to hinder his career?
I think his controversy, I think he actually thrives on the controversy, and he actually enjoys the fact that some people don't like him, and I don't think it's going to hinder his career at all, actually. I think the only thing that could hurt his career is a defeat. Let's
go back to that card that was happening on the weekend with Joshua defending his championship. George Groves successfully beats Martin Murray. What's left for Martin Murray now?
Okay, so with Martin Murray, I think it's time to call it a day. For me personally, I mean, he alluded to the fact afterwards that he's got plenty left in the tank. But if you saw his coach afterwards, there was a clear indication that it's over.
Too big for middleweights, too small for super middleweights. Where's Martin Murray going now?
I think probably if you can't make middleweight anymore, then probably fight like the local fights there in the UK. Super middle, nothing bigger than probably British title, Commonwealth titles and things like that.
Hayden, does Cyril go? Sorry, I was going to say, does Cyril go straight into? Does George Groves go straight into a world title shot now?
Yeah, why not? He's. I mean, to be fair to him, the only guys he's ever lost to is like genuine world guys. So yeah.
And they're touting it as one of the fights of the year. Keith Thurman beating Sean Porter in a very close competitive fight. 3 judges had it 7-5. How did you see the fight?
Yeah, I had it about the same, 7-5, but it was a very close fight. It could have gone either way. And yeah, I think both as good a fight as it was, they both showed that they are vulnerable and certain.
And great sportsmanship afterwards. I believe both fighters had breakfast in the respective hotel afterwards. And tell me, Keith Thurman has called out Danny Garcia. That's a cracking fight. Who you go with and why?
See, I got Keith Thurman there. Look, Keith Thurman has a great track record of guys that were trained by their fathers. He keeps beating these guys. Guerrero, now Porter. Next one will be Danny Garcia if it happens.
How do you see the fight going, Cyril?
I have to disagree with Hayden. I think Garcia can take a punch, and I think he will hit a lot harder than Porter. And I just think Garcia knows how to win, really.
And back home, Warren Jabez successfully defended his South African Junior Welterweight Championship for the first time. A workmanlike performance, yes or no?
Yeah, it was a workmanlike performance. It's closer than the first one, I must say that. Chikani actually brought a better fight this time.
A great undercard fight as well. Sabel Ngibiani getting knocked down for the first time in his career, getting up, stopping him. What did you make for the whole show?
I think it was a good show. The less said about the ring announcer, the better, but it was a good show all in all. There were good competitive fights, and yeah.
And you and I shot through to the SABC production. David Rajuli putting up a game performance, getting outgunned and outclassed, losing on points to Sidney Malaleka. Sidney Malaleka, one of those guys who just never gets old and keeps performing. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, he was showboating a lot. You know, both guys were. I believe he dominated the fight though. Rajuli, I believe, started off nice and strong, but when we got there, Old Bones took it easy there.
The two gentlemen have spoken, Hayden and Cyril, right here on Hot Boxing Talk. So with the emotion of Muhammad Ali passing, and there are a lot of people who disagree that he was the greatest of all time, I thought I'd bring in Rob Katz back to the Hot Boxing Talk to discuss, in his opinion, where does Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay fit into the heavyweight picture in terms of greatness. So welcome back, Rob. Let's get the formalities out the way and just ask you the first question. Where, in your opinion, does Ali fit in?
Ali is...
No, hold on. Let me stop you and say, do you think Ali is the greatest?
No, I don't think he's the greatest, but I will say the following, that I will say that he is, for me, he's the greatest in heart and the greatest in toughness. Now, a lot of people...
And showmanship.
Not necessarily showmanship, but Ali's real strength was his heart and his toughness. If you think about it, he stood up to the likes of Sonny Liston, George Foreman, Ernie Shavers, Ron Lyle. These were huge men who could hit hard. And Ali, you know, he never faltered. He was there. Plus, from a heart point of view, he got up in the 15th round after taking a massive left hook from Joe Frazier and still saw the fight out. So for me, it was less of Ali's speed and agility, but more his fighting heart and his toughness. He's one of the strongest, toughest men ever to lace on a pair of boxing gloves.
So let me ask you this. How would he have done against Jack Dempsey?
Good point. I think he would have been too big, too fast for Jack Dempsey and outscored Jack Dempsey.
And Rocky Marciano?
Marciano cut, and I think Ali would have cut him, and Ali would have won again on point. He wouldn't have knocked out or stopped Marciano. Marciano was a tough man. You know, it was like hitting a rhinoceros when you hit him, but he would have cut him. He would have cut him, and he would have won on
So here's the big one, right? I mean, probably one of the greatest heavyweights and boxers of all time, Joe Louis. How would have Ali done?
That's the question. That is the big question.
So I might disagree with you on this. I want to hear your
that's
answer.
fine. That's fine. That is the big question.
Bearing in mind that he got iced against Max Schmeling, so what's your opinion on that? Don't talk about the rematch. Talk about the first fight.
This is it. Okay, so that is the real question. So my view is as follows: that if Joe Louis fought Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay 3 times, either one of them would have won twice.
Okay.
Neither one of them would have won 3 times. Now this is the thing. I think the first fight, Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay would have beaten Joe Louis. He would have been too fast, too slick. And he would have done to Joe Louis. Billy Conn took him 13 rounds, Joe Louis. But the argument is always, you know, Billy Conn, an overblown light heavyweight, gave Joe Louis, hard time for 13 rounds. Muhammad Ali, a bigger, more skillful fighter, would have done more, yes. The other argument is, well, Joe Louis caught Billy Conn.
What would have happened in the rubber match?
Would have happened in there?
The rubber match.
No, Joe Louis would have beat him. My prediction, Joe Louis 2 out of 3, but the first fight, Muhammad Ali would have won.
And tell me, let's talk about Ali in those 3.5, nearly 4 years of him losing out in his prime. How much did that affect his career, and did we see the best of Muhammad Ali?
Definitely not. I think it had affected his career in a major way. The best of Muhammad Ali was just before he was banned in 2 fights, particularly against Cleveland Williams and Zora Foley. Those were the best of Muhammad Ali. When Muhammad Ali came back, he wasn't as quick, he wasn't as fleet-footed, and then he had to show his power, his strength, his heart, and that wasn't really the best of him.
So one of his losses was against Larry Holmes, and that was well past his prime. How would he have done in his prime against Larry Holmes?
No, I think Muhammad Ali would have beaten Larry Holmes, but I must say that in my opinion, Larry Holmes is the most underrated heavyweight of all time, and definitely a top 10 heavyweight.
Okay, we're not talking about Larry Holmes.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you, in summing up Muhammad Ali, how
would... But it would have been a hell of a fight.
Last question. How would Mike Tyson have done against Muhammad Ali?
I think Ali would have beaten him. I really do think Ali would have beaten him.
Points.
Ali was never a sharp puncher to knock you out.
But bearing in mind, Tyson, all of his losses were all by stoppage. So how do you think? And
stoppage
DQ.
Late in his career when he wasn't in shape. Yes, that's correct.
Douglas? That wasn't late in his career.
Nah, but my Tyson was really on the downward skids there.
Okay.
He wasn't in his prime. But Ali would have beaten him. I don't think Tyson would have hurt Ali. You know, if giant punches, Ernie Shavers, Sonny Liston, George Foreman couldn't have hurt him, I don't think Tyson would have.
So let me ask you this. In summing up Muhammad Ali, how do you think fans should remember him?
The greatest sportsman of all time, never mind boxing person, the greatest sportsman of all time who had the greatest impact on any sport of all time. And
the Nelson Mandela of sport.
Without a doubt. A credit to the game, whose like we won't see again.
Okay, if I don't shut him up, he's never going to stop. Rob Katz.
Always say that.
Rob Katz talking to us right here on Hot Boxing Talk.
Wonderful.
Thanks for watching Hot Boxing Talk. Catch us again next week from myself, Colin, Nomaganjani, Nathan, and Hayden Jones. We'll see you then.